Hello, women of welcome. I'm Sarah Quezada, and I am coming to you in the midst of our COVID quarantined life that we're all living right now to address one of the questions that we get the most here at Welcome, which is what can I do? And I've been thinking a lot about this, particularly in this moment, adding to the end of that question, what can I do from a distance? So many of us are practicing social distancing and experiencing this real emotional distance that is new for a lot of us and has been very unsettling in a lot of ways. And so, for issues like immigration or any other kind of thing that we care about related to people, we feel very distant from it right now. But one thing I've been thinking about for this community, and because we talk about immigrant and refugee issues, for many of us, we have been feeling some of that distance even before this particular moment, whether that's geographic distance from the border or from refugee camps, or whether that is just a distance in not necessarily having anyone in our personal life who's walking through some of these issues. And so it really, I think, is a question that many of us have been asking actually for a while, which is what can I do from a distance? And so I want to actually take us to a story that has meant a lot to me in recent years in particular, but really I think speaks to this issue, and that is the story of Moses. And so I'm actually going to read a little bit from Exodus 2. And I know many of us are familiar with this story, but there is one character and one verse in here in particular that I want to draw our attention to today. So we know that a man and a woman from the tribe of Levi got married. The woman became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She saw how beautiful he was and kept him hidden for 3 months, because as you'll recall, her child was born into danger where his life was at risk because of their ethnicity, because he was Hebrew. And so it says when she could no longer hide him, she got a little basket made of papyrus reeds and waterproofed it with tar and pitch. She put the baby in the basket and laid it among the reeds along the edge of the Nile River. The baby's sister then stood at a distance, watching to see what would happen to him. Soon after this, one of Pharaoh's daughters came down to bathe in the river, and her servant girls walked along the river bank. When the princess saw the little basket among the reeds, she told one of her servant girls to get it for her. And as the princess opened it, she found the baby boy. His helpless cries touched her heart. "He must be one of the Hebrew children," she said. Then the baby's sister approached the princess. "Should I go and find one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you?" she asked. "Yes, do," the princess replied. So the girl rushed home and called the baby's mother. "Take this child home and nurse him for me," the princess told her. "I will pay you for your help." So the mother's baby took her baby home and nursed him. I feel so connected to Miriam, Moses' sister, in this story. And I love the way this version has Exodus 2:4, when it said, "The baby's sister stood at a distance, watching to see what would happen to him." And when I read that verse, I feel Miriam's frustration, that feeling of having her hands tied, watching her infant brother float down the river, and her feeling like, what can I do? What can I possibly do in this situation to help? It had to be very, very frustrating, but I think there's a lot we can learn from Miriam's example. And the first thing is she didn't leave. So we don't leave. It can be very easy when we feel frustrated, like, I don't know what to do about this. I'm out. I don't want to think about it. When I think about it, it breaks my heart and it confuses me, and I don't know how to respond. And so I'd rather just step away. And we see that Miriam stayed. She was present. She didn't leave. She waited. I got to be honest, waiting is one of the hardest things for me. It's one of the hardest things I'm experiencing right now in the midst of COVID, is waiting to see what's going to happen, waiting to see when things will go back to normal. And I can only imagine the desperation and frustration that Miriam felt in that waiting process. The second lesson we can learn from Miriam is that she stayed close. And so for those of us who are learning and growing in our understanding and our action around immigration and refugees, we can stay close. We can use this time to continue to lean in, to continue to learn. We can use this time to text and check in on people in our lives who maybe we can't connect with geographically right now, but we can reach out and say, how are you doing? Particularly immigrant and refugee families that we may be connected to. We can take this time to pray, to spend time asking God to intervene on behalf of our immigrant brothers and sisters. And we can use this time to call Congress and to remind them that we need solutions for different things. And so there's these ways to kind of stay present, to stay close, even in the midst of social distance. Third and finally is that when I think about waiting and watching from a distance and what can we do, we have to be ready to step up. I'm struck in this story that there is no way when Moses' mother sent her child to accompany her other child on this journey that she could have said to Miriam, now, someone in power is gonna see him, and then she's gonna need someone to nurse him, so ask me, and maybe I'll even get paid to nurse him and care for him. But because Miriam stayed close, because she didn't leave, she was then ready and prepared to step up when the opportunity presented itself. She didn't shrink back in that moment. And so I think for us, there's such a beautiful example that we can be prepared and ready to step up, trusting God that we will know when the time is right, we will know what to do and what God is asking of us in this situation. So I hope this encourages you as you think about what to do from a distance. And I'd love to hear your own thoughts about Miriam and Moses. This is one of my favorite stories, particularly over the last few years, and I hope it encourages your heart. All right, talk to you later.